Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Psycho Worldwide, in association with One Mind Entertainment, proudly brings to you two of the greatest podcast hosts in the world. I am Crazy Kevin. He is Dan Jones, and we are Two Fat Guys Podcast. What it do? What it do? What it do? What is going on, Danny Rennington? What's good, my
Yeah,
dude?
yeah, man. What life is life right now, bro. I'm here. Any day above ground is good for me. Every day get a new chance to work it out. So I'm good, man. How about you on your end?
I maintain it. I can't complain. I've been blessed this
Yeah,
week. Been blessed. And I'm here. I'm here.
yeah.
I'm
Uh,
here.
First and foremost, I do my shout out to my arrogant twin, his Maury Commodores for a successful season, 10-0. They just beat the Grammy Comics
The
55
who?
nothing, and they're on the way to the playoffs for a
The
second year, trying to get
the
back to
what?
back
I'm
championship.
sorry. I'm sorry. Pause. The what comics?
Granby,
Oh, Granby. Jesus. You
not
have
Grandy.
yet. You have you every team. Every team I've asked you what team your son has played. None of their names make sense. You said they played somebody called the something something truckers, and just what? Like none of the team names make abs. I know it's Virginia. I
Right,
get that. And I accept that part that it's Virginia, and
right,
and nothing against the VA, nothing
nothing.
against the VA because they're part of the DMV. So I salute them. But
Right,
y'all need to name your high school teams better. You know, y'all do. I mean, like we got what we the Merville Mustangs, the formerly known Northern Vikings. You
formerly
know,
known Southern Bulldogs.
right? You see what I'm saying? I mean, even Dunbar's the poets, which means they slick talkers. You feel what I'm
Right.
saying? I I can't I
Only one
can't
that didn't
take.
make sense was Lake Clifton Dolphins.
I
Then
thought they was
again,
the Lakers.
see, see,
But on a serious note, uh, we found out today that a Hollywood legend um passed on I think today actually, if not today,
yes,
yesterday.
yesterday
Um,
or today.
yeah, Tony Todd. And for those who don't know who Tony Todd is, Tony Todd was the man that brought us the character. Let me get into my light. The character we know as Candyman. Um, he's had more than just Candyman to his name, and we lost a very strong actor in this world that brought a lot of entertainment to us. So, R.I.P. to Mr. Todd. Um, if y'all have never seen Candyman, see the original one. We just actually it's crazy because we just talked about the movie last month when we was
On the
doing our
battle, we sure
battles. Yeah,
did.
when we was
We
doing our
sure did.
battles, and that was the first thing that popped in my head when I seen it. So,
Yet alone, he's also the influencer behind Final Destination.
see right there. So, like, I think he had a knack for horror movies, which is crazy.
Yeah. He's a slasher kind of guy. I loved it.
Um,
I might gotta do a breakdown on that movie franchise, bro. Think so?
so see what I'm reading these chats that's coming in. It's from an unknown user,
Already?
so it's yeah, but it just says Facebook user, so I don't know who it is. That's why I haven't responded to it.
Might be a new guy, but new person. I'm saying, you think we gotta do a whole breakdown of the Final Destination franchise?
No, no, because they're still doing Final Destination movies. And before you say something, I know they're still doing Fast and Furious movies, which is why I stopped doing the breakdown. Okay, it feel like it's like the story with the big white dog. It never ends, y'all. It's the story that never
So
ends.
there's no point in doing Transformers either.
But at least Transformer goes through transitions that they're supposed to go through. Okay, Fast and Furious just keeps getting wilder and wilder, and I'm game for it. I'm game. And Final Destination keeps reminding people there is a gazillion ways for you to die of a horrible death.
Even in your house.
Right? Okay. You could be minding your business at a NASCAR race. But yes, I'm a black man that likes NASCAR. I don't want to go to a NASCAR race anymore because I'm afraid that a tire is going to come flying off a car doing 275 miles
That's
an
right.
hour on a 90-degree turn and kill me. Okay?
And you're not going to make it.
I'm not.
Listen, the next one is supposed to be on the cruise ship. And the one after that's supposed to be some kind of a I don't know, somebody's supposed to like a submarine expedition. First of all, that's disrespectful to do one for the submarines and the other people ain't make it. That's disrespectful.
That's not funny. It's not funny that them people die.
Nobody's supposed to put on there.
It's not funny that somebody put a Logitech controller as the gear worker or the submersive. That's not funny.
Somebody put a Lamborghini engine in the Crown Vic.
Yeah. Yo, I'm trying to figure out why none of these users are showing up. And it just keeps saying Facebook user.
I don't know. Let's get it going.
There's one says, hey, fellas. And I think that might be Miss Voorhees. That's Chris. All right, hold on. Okay, so they're on my phone. But for some reason on StreamYard, they're not popping up, which is weird. And I'm not restarting StreamYard.
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Yo, God bless my wife, but she's like forgetting I'm in the middle of a podcast and she's trying to help me out.
She's on timeout. She's on timeout.
Is that leaf a weed? No, Naeem. It's a maple leaf. It is a maple leaf, sir. And we're not broadcasting from Canada. No. And I'm not yelling at you know what? Let's get into this show. Because we're not going to do this right now, okay? We're not going to do this. I'm going to have to read the comments from off my phone. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Dan, you were in timeout. You didn't even do anything. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's show is Stop, yo. Tonight's show is a doozy. We are going to be talking about the newest hit show on Disney Plus from the universe known as Marvel. We're talking about Agatha All Along tonight. And we're going to be jumping into the season breakdown and possible fallouts that is going to come from this. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Naeem, shut up. So we're going to be doing this tonight, and we're going to be having a good time. And, of course, y'all always know we got people that like to come along for the ride. So they're coming along to hang out with us tonight. And so bringing to the stage first, she's not even a guest no more. She just straight up family. That she done been here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dozen times now. But as I said, she is the prettiest nerd that I know. She is the host of Coffee and Tea, which my wife and my sister was just on this past Friday. So go check that out on Facebook and YouTube. They were talking about the wife life. So go check that out on Facebook and YouTube, Coffee and Tea. And she just actually coming from her second podcast show, The Lazarus Movement. So we got to give it up for our homegirl, our friend, the prettiest nerd that I know. We're going to bring on Miss Chris.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
T. Okay, all right, hold on. So we're going to be bringing her on in a moment. I don't know. I need to figure out what this, because this is going to bug me. All right. Anyway, moving on. So, welcome to the show. I'm just going to turn the comments off on this side so I can't see it. I just see my phone. So, welcome back to the show, Chris. Glad to have you.
I am always happy to be a part of the show. I appreciate you, fellas.
And we are always happy for you to be part of the show.
Yes.
So, we have another guest. She's a first timer. First timer. So she is new to the Fat Boys, new to the Fat Guys podcast, but she has been a gracious and follower of us on TikTok. And so we do appreciate her support, and we're supporting her back. And our boy here, Danny, reached out to her, was like, "Hey, would you like to be part of this show? Because if you go to at Brooklyn Girl, that's at BKLYN Girl 1380 on TikTok, you're going to find a plethora of Agatha All Along breakdowns. You're going to find a plethora of Taylor Swift re-release music breakdown. You're going to find a plethora of breakdowns, period, from this woman. But she is a true blue New Yorker, Brooklyn Girl 1380. Excuse me, Brooklyn Girl 1380, Miss T. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Brooklyn. I'm
Brooklyn.
sorry, I had to do that. Old Crime Time, shout out. So, welcome to the show, T. I know this is your first time, and as you can see, it's shenanigans already. And
I didn't do it.
Hey, Ada, how you doing, Ada? And there's Gina. Mitchin.
You DMX.
I might be pronouncing that last name correctly. She says hi to you, T. There's someone named Jean. No one knows more about Agatha All Along than T. T, you got a nice little fan club popping up over here, girl.
Yeah. Make sure all y'all like and subscribe to the Facebook page, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Like, follow her on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Do all that. So we're going to get into the show. As you can see, we're just starting, and the shenanigans already. For full disclosure, and before y'all jump on my back, because I know y'all want to do it,
Here we go.
Have not seen not one single episode of Agatha All Along.
You should have done that by now.
I don't have Disney Plus. You and I and Danny have already had this conversation. The Walt Disney Corporation is not getting any more of my money. Okay?
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Okay? Somebody said, Diane Smith says, hi, T, we know her. Wow, you just gonna boo me, Naeem? For real? Just gonna boo me? Because I don't, well, you know what? Anyway.
I told maybe a few hundred people, just a couple.
Just a couple hundred people? No problem.
I'm going to use that from now on. My kids get in trouble. Like, I only told a few hundred people. Yeah.
First of all, and I apologize in advance, T. Grown up black, your mother already told a few hundred people what you did.
That's fact.
Okay, so, and I'm pretty sure, because T a Brooklyn girl, and you sound like a very traditional, old school Brooklyn girl, and I'm pretty sure by the time you got home from the PS back to your apartment, everybody knew. So,
my mother, my auntie, my grandma, yeah.
So yeah. So you ain't gotta tell your kids that you told a few hundred people. You can just say I told people, and more than likely the kid will be like, "Yeah, I know, because I got slapped on the way here by 13 different people." Did you just boo me and my wife, Naeem?
Y'all need a hug.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
He needs a hug. All right. So as I say, full disclosure, I've never seen the show, so I'm playing moderator tonight. So I'm going to learn as we go along. Like they told us in elementary, pre-K, kindergarten. You learn as you go along. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be learning as I go along. Danny, the floor is yours, because I know that you got the synopsis to run down.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. So we're going to jump into the first question?
Here we are.
All right, let's talk about it then. We're talking about the dead body episode uno.
Now, I called it this question, named this question that because, in the first episode, they were doing the whole cop episode. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to know, what was your first thought when you seen the body in the ground? How did you feel at that moment? Like did you know the show was going to turn up, or you just knew this might not have been what I thought it was? Who we got first?
Well, since T is new to the program, we're going to let her go first.
Okay.
soon as I saw the outfit, I knew it was Wanda because that's what she wore walking out of work. So I knew it was her.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so she's dead. Okay, so she's not. Okay, so is she? Isn't she? And that's what the whole first episode left you with. It was like, okay, so what's the point of adding her? Oh, wait, we got this lady and this kid, and none of this was real. Okay. So it was like kind of, it really dragged on basically the first episode, but at the end, just like one.
How you feel about it, Chris?
So I kind of had the same thought, though in the back of my mind as the episode went on. I think when we got to the point where she got to the library,
Yeah.
my brain immediately went to the Darkhold. So though I saw Wanda's, quote unquote body there, once we got to the library portion, I was like, oh, well, maybe that's her image of her losing the Darkhold. So maybe that's what it is. And then we just kept kind of going on. Now, I will admit that first episode, I was like, I don't know, because I feel like it's taking too long for us to get to where we got to go. But as the series progressed, it made sense after a while.
I won't lie. For the first part, before I even seen the hair, I really thought it was Billy.
Really?
The way they had the hoodie set up, you couldn't really see the hair in the ground. And it was just feet. I'm like, all right, maybe it was Billy in the beginning. But like you said, as the episodes went on, you was like, all right, maybe I was wrong about that. I think the first episode kind of gave a mystery. Like you had to drag out, like most cop shows drag out in the first 30 minutes. And then that last half an hour, all of a sudden they want to catch the bad guy out the blue. Somebody has a paper clip on the ground or some kind of a clue. Like when she went to the library and the Darkholds were burned, I didn't know what to think after that. I knew right then and there that this show was going to bring me something that I really wasn't made for. But at the same time, the people that was in the village were still playing their parts. I guess to stop her from getting all mad and stuff. But it was just kind of crazy.
So Naeem said he thought because Wanda died and it said Aggie free.
Aggie? That's what you call Agatha Aggie?
He called her Aggie.
Okay, Aggie now.
Aggie all along.
I'm not subscribing to that.
And hello to Miss Voorhees. Welcome to the show. Glad to see you back once again for our shenanigans.
Is it me or does Aggie all along sound like it should be on Tubi?
See, here you go.
It does.
Here
or Pluto.
you go.
Tubi or Pluto.
I like how the first episode though was chock full of foreshadowing for the whole rest of the series. And you only learn that after you watch pretty much midway through the season and then say, wait a minute, I got to go back. So I first episode more times than I watched any other because there was so much in it that I had to keep going back to it to say, okay, wait a minute, there was a car crash. There were two in the front, one in the back. Okay, now let's look at this and let's look at that. And I kept going back as a reference point.
Now, I as a person that hasn't seen it, I've heard people or seen people on social media talk about Agatha All Along, how they had to go back and rewatch episodes. Was this a common thing throughout this series that sometimes you had to go back and rewatch episodes because of Easter eggs and stuff like that, something that you might have missed, or somebody say, "Hey, did you notice this part?" And you was like, "Nah," then you have to go back and go see if you noticed what they noticed.
I'm gonna say yeah, because the way it was filmed and edited, there were certain characters you had to literally watch the whole season all the way through just to go back and watch to put the piece together. What was the name? The cups, the denominator.
That sounds like a laminator. That's like
No.
drink.
Really? Not her.
Drink you get from the 7-Eleven Slurpee machine.
The tarot card.
The Lilia?
Yes, that's her name. Well, I got tongue tied right there. Well, when Lilia was doing the way they had to edit.
No. that wasn't you getting tongue tied. That was just you going dumb because the name that Chris said and lemonade were completely different.
Well,
Okay,
what she
lemonade sound
is,
like something that your
no,
mama made in lieu of Kool-Aid, where she took lime,
I'm not ready to
lime
make that.
drip.
No, it was. What did she call it in the story? It's another name for a type of witch that she is.
Divination.
There it is. There it is. Denomination.
No.
She didn't
Oh,
say denomination.
DIV, sir.
divination.
Y'all can no longer talk about me mispronouncing stuff. I'm just going on record right now.
I told you I talk funny from the jump.
Braxton
now,
Younger, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. She says, I love this so much. And she said denomination.
ma'am, don't judge me. Don't judge me. It's been a long day. I'm just getting off of work, tired, my eye lazy. I'm trying to get it together. I'm trying to keep
not
it.
lazy, yo.
Your brain is lazy, sir.
Fuck, stop. So
Hey.
now you have a lazy eye.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, you had a slur.
Yeah, I do.
You do
Spaghetti.
not. It's not.
And Kevin, a couple shows ago, you had a terrible echo. So let's not talk.
That was him. But pause. The echo was coming from him. Because remember when he signed off and signed back on, the echo went away. Okay, so once again, it was Danny Riddington, not crazy Kevin Gross.
That one, yes, it was.
Hey, what's going on?
Danny, I speak the truth. I can't help it.
Naeem said judging. And Viva says she agrees with Chris. Why is that not surprising?
Of course. You know what? Yeah, look at him. No, I can't do this today. Go to the next question.
What y'all say? Put them in the air. Is it put it in the air? Whatever it is.
Put the ones up. Let's put your ones up.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you say put it in the air, that is something completely different. That was a Nelly song from the early 2000s. Apple bottom jeans.
Sir.
Not even the name of the song, sir. Goodbye.
You cutting it for your BT. We can't do this on the show. We talking about Agatha, not Nelly. Jesus.
But to answer your question,
right?
I did the same thing with Agatha that I did with Loki. Like I would go back when right before the episode dropped, I would go back and rewatch either 2 episodes or 1 episode, depending on what was happening, to try to, make sure that I remembered everything. And then you see stuff that you didn't see the first time because you're so into watching it. So yeah, this was one of those series that you had to go back and watch and then go back and rewatch when new stuff came, especially when it came to Lilia's episode, just because of all the pieces that ended up falling into place. Like I think I was screaming at my TV, for that episode, just because so much stuff made sense after that.
I got fucked up after that episode
3 to 4 times. I watched it first night twice, and then I would watch it 1 or 2 times before the next episode, just so I didn't forget anything. And that's why I have my handy notebooks, because I would write down things because I'm Gen X and I'm old, so I write it all down, and so I didn't forget. And I'd be like, okay, this is where we are now. Let's see where we're going.
Yeah,
you're not old, T. Just to let you know that,
not at all.
Not at all. Don't.
I'm probably the youngest on this page on the show.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he might.
Kev, how old are you?
Just turned 46, sir. We had this whole discussion back
46
in October.
46 years around the sun.
Yes.
44 right here. Going to be 45 in January.
Hold on. January what?
3rd. 1/3/80. That's my birthday.
My wife's birthday is the 7th.
Wait, 1 through 80. I get it.
As I pick up my microphone, shout out to the 80s babies.
Yeah. I'm about to be
I feel
41
like
in
I
3
feel
months.
like that was a shot towards me.
It wasn't.
I mean, but you said 80s baby. I'm the only one that was not born in the 80s in this conversation right now.
Well, specifically, it really was a me and T thing since she was born at actual 1980, and so was I. So it was more of a camaraderie than a shot. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Shout out to the halfway 80s baby.
Shut up, yo. Miss Voorhees said BET After Dark when I was making the Nelly reference.
We're not doing it.
And
Mm-mm.
Jen, I am not going to attempt to pronounce that last name. Was it Master Marine?
Mastro Marino. Hey, Jen.
Oh, so I did say it correctly. Good for
Very-
me. She says, woohoo! I'm glad I said that correctly because I'm infamous for shattering people's names.
Oh, you said
All
that.
right. Next.
She put the whole NWO here.
Right. I think she brought the whole barrel with her for real. Next question. Now I'm gonna need y'all to explain to me who was the Salem 7 and did the Salem 7 deliver?
T, you want to explain who they are?
The Salem 7 in the comic books. We'll start with that. In the comic books, Agatha kind of abandons her child, Nicholas Scratch. And Nicholas Scratch goes up and he has children. And his children are the Salem 7. And not only is Nicholas Scratch, her son, in the comic books, her villain per se, but the Salem 7 are also after her as well. In the show, the Salem 7 are the witches that were born from the coven she first killed, her very first coven with her mother. And if you watched WandaVision, you had seen that in WandaVision go down. So that's who the Salem 7 are. And absolutely not, they did not deliver.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
What a waste. They could have used it for the Scarlet Witch movie. They could have used it for a villain later on down the road. I felt like it was just there as a distraction to us to try to say, oh, look, we don't want to see this yet. We're going to give you that. So I think I was very disappointed by them.
I felt like Rio was a better antagonist throughout the whole show. And she could have had minions. She could have popped up in certain places. Like the Salem 7 looked very menacing at the beginning, right before they went on the road. And it set you up for, oh my gosh, they're going to like trying to get them and all this other kind of stuff. And it just fell flat.
I feel like they were so good visually, especially when they were doing the down the road scene. Oh, that scene was visually perfect. Loved it. Loved how one split into 7. Loved Billy's reaction to it. All about it. I was like, yes. And then we didn't hear from them for 6 episodes.
Yep.
I was like, what is the point? Now, if you wanted to play it this way, when Lilia went whoop and everything dropped, you only heard 5 impacts per se. You want to play that right as her and Wiccan are walking out the door to go find Tommy. You see a crow. You see one of the little bugs. You see something to allude to that there's 2 still out there. Something that would give us some kind of reaping of the benefit of these characters because they were so good and nothing was done.
Yeah.
One is what, a cicada,
Yeah.
and the other was a crow.
Yep.
And they ain't had no owls, was it?
It was an owl, a fox, and a rat.
Yeah, like 3 of them got wings. So it was. We missing something on this part, but I think I agree with both of you ladies that they did underdeliver as far as that, but visually, they caught me in a couple. When that first said, I was like, oh yeah, they about to get down. It's a wrap. This movie's gonna be over. But then you gotta realize Rio was the one that told him where Agatha lived at. So maybe she did use them as a distraction. So that was a big difference for me. And when they finally came on the road, I got tired of seeing them. But when they crawled out from the trees and the bushes, I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I really didn't want them to kill somebody. I don't mean no harm, but yeah, you had to do something. All that, and that's all we got. So maybe they might be setting them up for another season. We talk about that later on too.
Joe said Lilia dealt with the Salem 7. Like Rio referred to that, to them being gone, and I'm like, that's it. That was all we got.
But me, I think it's a subliminal message. Like, technically, if you killed 5 of them, you did get rid of the Salem 7,
Maybe.
and there's 2 more left. And since she brought them there, can she resurrect them? I mean, death is life on the other side of it. Maybe they don't die.
Dun, dun, dun. I'm sorry.
I love a good cliffhanger. But this one had too many
cliffhangers. Doing that old school soap opera.
You gotta do the turn to the side. Ready? Go ahead.
No, you did it too fast.
Too much.
That Horatio for CSI Miami.
I hated
it. No, I think I was the only one to watch that show.
I hated CSI Miami.
What?
Only CSI because of Horatio. It was Horatio. First of all, his whole thing was one-liners, and it was horrible one-liners. They weren't even good one-liners. They was horrible one-liners. Okay, that's one. And then 2, the pretty boy who shows up to a murder scene wearing all white linen. You're a forensic science expert, and you show up to a bloody murder scene wearing all white linen. I know it's Miami, but it's also a murder scene.
I mean, Mike Larry did it in Bad Boys. He's a cop, and he showed up in the whole suit, a linen suit.
But he was a detective, though, so that made sense. Detectives wear suits. Think about it. Come back to it later.
You make a good point.
Moving on.
Oh, your friend Jen said him and his sunglasses is stupid. And I agree, Jen. They are stupid.
Today.
Like you rolled up on the scene and it's a woman murdered and she was a writer and he goes, looks like Murder, She Wrote. Why? Like, yes, T, it was bad. You see how bad that was, T? It was worse than that.
Well, forensic scientists make enough that if he got blood on his linen suit, he could go buy another. So that's I'm gonna say.
But why would you ruin a good linen suit for what?
Money like 10.
No, you. It's not like you're a federal forensic officer. You work for the city of Miami.
It doesn't make sense. It's not.
I need my TV to make a little sense, okay? Just a little sense. I need my
TV
to make a little sense, okay?
You're mad about it.
It ain't gotta be a lot of sense, just a little sense.
The palm branch, okay? Palm branch. Over.
Well, I don't know what that means, okay?
I do.
That was like Danny putting up the Uno card. That makes no difference.
Next question.
Right. David Ortiz says LMAO.
David Ortiz.
Yeah, not Big Papi.
That's what I say though.
No, not that
one. Oh my God, I'm your favorite fan. Oh my God.
I so would not be friends with him if it was that David Ortiz. Come on, I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She's a New Yorker. She's in New York and he represents Boston.
I'm sorry. We're not doing this today. Nope.
Hold on, who? Miss Voorhees says so aggressive. Who's so aggressive, Miss Voorhees?
You, Kevin. Horatio.
Jen.
Character Horatio.
Hold on. David said Davy Doors from Brooklyn, and then Jen. Hold on, it's a lot. Hold on, here we go. So this David Ortiz is way better.
Yes.
Davy Doors from Brooklyn. Let's go. I can't support that, David. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you, but I can't support that. I am from Baltimore.
Yeah, we can't say that.
I'm black and orange. So no disrespect, but
all right, we're all good.
Okay.
I have a jersey. We're good.
All right, so you can see our colors. It's a mix of Ravens and what's the name right now. So Orioles, who blew another winning season, but we're not gonna talk about that though.
I'm a Jet fan, Kev. We're not.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right, Did you just snort? Oh my God. She's a snorter. Oh, she is a snorter. Oh, she's a habitual snorter.
My friends are gonna go nuts.
My wife is in the room crying, laughing. Colorful losers. Shut up. Naeem, be quiet, bro.
Oh, man.
Ain't you from Jersey, Naeem? Talking about colorful losers. Or Mr. David Ortiz said, "Here we go." And Jen said, "The snort has begun." Gina's laughing at you. Naeem went, "Wow." They're going in with the snorting. Okay. Say what?
Okay.
What'd you say, T?
I said those are my friends.
Okay, it's all good. I figured that, but I was not expecting the snorting. That was wow. Not like how Chris is just being there all poised and just professional, while the rest of us is just hooligans and shenanigans.
This is not professional. I mean, I can't join in on this part, so it is what it is.
All right. Oh, Naeem said that's adorable.
Thank you, Naeem.
Naeem says that's adorable. Okay, so I have a who is Billy all along? Or what is Billy all along?
So
Chris?
basically, the term of the question.
I said Chris.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Pay attention.
I know a little bit about Wiccan prior to this as far as the comic books are concerned, but he's the product of Mephisto. So the how he came along is a little different. And in the comic books, if I remember correctly, like his story, like they're really convoluted in the way that their story in the comic book happens. So I think the way that they did it here was to streamline how he came about a little bit more. And William is leaving his bar mitzvah and they get into an accident because they too busy looking at what's happening to the hex, and they get into an accident and he literally dies. Like, it took me a minute on this particular portion of the episode because I was like, what happened? But you hear the heartbeats. So you hear William's heartbeat fade out, and then all of a sudden you hear Billy come in. And that's, the finding a body, living out in Never Land in the hex, in the space as the hex is falling apart. Nah, more like a Peter Pan, but that's kind of happened. So he doesn't realize where he is. So that's why he does all this research. And you see the episode where he does it all, and he realizes that he's not who he is believed to be. But we don't find out that he's Wiccan until the halfway point.
So real quick, Naeem says that Wanda and Vision slap rope.
There he go. I don't even know why you started to read that.
I didn't pre-read it. I saw Wanda and Vision. I saw Wanda and Vision, and I thought it was going. No, bro, come on, nah. No, you almost got me.
I feel like
so the PG version of that is Wanda and Vision got together and made fake kids that stole somebody's son's dead body. That's the PG version of that. Lady.
But Wanda and Vision really didn't get together. So you have to remember that Wanda fabricated that whole hex. So that whole her and that version of Vision is a fabrication. She just ended up pregnant. And that's how they came along, because you just see the babies, and then when we get to the 80s show, or the 80s or the 90s show, they're kids at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So the Family Ties episode.
Yeah.
And they're kids.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, from infants to infants to children to like 10-ish.
Yeah, like preteen-ish age range when we get to the Halloween episode.
I honestly didn't know what to think because Wiccan was the worst kept secret Marvel ever had, and it was all Funko's fault. I pre-ordered my Agatha Pop.
Oh my Lord.
And they
Jesus.
showed the box. I didn't know not to look at the other pictures because I thought I was going to get one of her without the box. It showed the back of the box, and there was Wiccan and Lady Death. I'm like, are you kidding me? This was like week 3 or week 2.
Oh, wow.
I already knew. I was like, come on. So I was okay with that. I was like, all right, whatever. But then we had a 10-year-old boy jumping into a 13-year-old's body. So that was very interesting to me. And he's in a relationship with another 16-year-old boy, but he's still mentally 13. And I think that's something I didn't take into consideration throughout the whole show, which I should have.
So, real quick, Diana Smith, I think she's in her Roman Reigns phase because she says, acknowledge me. So, we acknowledge you. And, yeah, put your ones up. And Naeem says, so Wanda and Vision was Mary and Joseph.
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yep.
And honestly, I think that's how Nikki Scratch was conceived as well.
Yeah, because you never see and you know, Marvel's big on that too. You never really see the other side of the stuff until later. But
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Danny. I'm laughing at Danny. I'm sorry, I apologize, Chris. It was the Mary and Joseph thing that completely threw him off.
That's okay.
Go ahead, Daniel.
I didn't even think about it that way. I'm sitting there like, Mary and Joseph. Oh. Yeah, I'm learning more and more every day. Go ahead, keep going, Chris. I'm sorry. Go ahead, beautiful. What do you think?
No, you're fine. I don't even remember what I was talking about.
About Agatha,
Me.
father for Nicholas, and how Marvel tends to do that. They don't show the other side of it.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with it, but I don't remember now.
Well, that's because Rio's his father, but that's a whole nother that comes in later.
All right, so what are your thoughts about Billy All Along, Danny?
I'm on the same page as them, and besides the Mary and Joseph part, that just blew my mind. I love that. With Billy, it was kind of a no-show with me, and I'm also like her. I ordered the Funko Pop, and then I seen it on the side of the box. I kind of got upset as well. There's a couple miscues from Marvel. The promotion was done too quick and too quietly, but you gave out too much information. So that kind of blew up the whole thing. And then when they tried to recall it back, it was already too late.
Okay, so we have come to the conclusion that Billy All Along was yeah. Because there was some unanswered situations dealing with WandaVision. Go ahead, T.
Now, Danny, that's just about the Wiccan reveal, correct? Or were we talking about Billy All Along?
Okay, so the review, I didn't like it. But All Along, it was perfect. It was kind of predictable once you got towards the 5th, 6th episode that you know it was him. Then when you see in the room, everything actually made sense. I think me and Chris talked about it on Facebook. Like, with the room by itself, you had to watch that episode or at least them 15 minutes and pause it and literally take notes and look at everything in the room. It was amazing.
It was David Ortiz in the room who said he made up the whole road. And I went, what? And then we went and he said, well, let's go look at his room. And I did. See, I gave you credit, Dave. Now you can't say I stole your idea. But we went and literally paused every single scene. I got a thumbs up. And paused every single scene to look. Oh, wait, there's the Wizard of Oz. Oh, wait, there's Lorna Wu. Oh, wait, there's the Craft. I mean, it's all there. All you had to do when he was showing his boyfriend, Eddie, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Which they did. She said she wanted to make it Freddie to leave it open for the Hulk son thing, but they didn't do that. So when he was showing Eddie the paperwork, it was all there. All you had to do was pause the scene and look.
And David, pardon me, David says thanks for giving him credit. All right, so my next question is, ladies and gentlemen, and Danny, what is your favorite episodes and why?
I know it's a tough question because the whole series in general was good. Like you literally, like we said throughout this show, you had to constantly watch different episodes. But which one stood out to you the most, and which one constantly gravitated towards you the more you've seen it?
7.
That would be Lillian's episode.
This episode. It was brilliantly written that if it doesn't win awards, I don't know what to do. Because Patti LuPone in that episode and the way they went back and forward, and you were confused, but as Lilia got her vision cleared more, our vision became cleared more. And the way Jack Schaefer just wrote it and put it together, and the little itty bittiest things from episode 1 all came together. It was absolute perfection. If that episode does not win Golden Globes, Emmys, whatever the case, if Jack Schaefer doesn't win, if Patti LuPone doesn't win, there is no justice. Because that might be the best almost hour I've seen of television in my life.
I'm probably going to say this right now, and I know it's probably going to be unpopular, but I don't think they're going to win because those Marvel doesn't get the respect in like cinema or in television for how they craft their stuff. Like Marvel movies kill, and if they had been nominated, they never win. And movies should have been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Actors should have been nominated. Like realistically speaking, Robert Downey Jr. should have been nominated for an Oscar.
For Endgame, yes, absolutely.
Yes, like he just let's come on now.
Don't get me wrong, they're gonna throw us the crumbs like set design and costume and stuff like that. But Jack Schaefer is writing probably the best history, like the best story of the Scarlet Witch and the setup for her that I could have ever imagined. And bringing a character who doesn't even have one single comic book to herself. Agatha has absolutely no comic books by herself. She was like 65th ranking in Marvel characters. And to build a whole show just around her and pull Lady Death in the way she did and pull Wiccan, it's absolute brilliant writing. And I understand you don't want to give it to Marvel, then give it to Jack Schaefer because she absolutely deserves it.
Chris?
So Death's Hand in Mind is probably my favorite episode. The one right behind that would probably be the If I Can't Reach You, Let My Song Teach You one. Number one, just because the way that the curse manifested itself, like that was great. And I thought that because I saw that the way that the Salem 7 was going to get set up, I thought was going to be phenomenal. But just that episode in general, like it was really well done. And Rio's part of it, like as you see the curse kind of manifesting itself, the fact that she was so chill and like so unbothered by it, and just the little nuances of her being unbothered, though I didn't know she was Lady Death at that point, it just left you like, what is going on with her? Like it made you want to figure out like who she was. Her sitting there with the newspaper, and then her, just looking around, all that kind of stuff. Like it was a really good episode, but 7 definitely top notch.
I agree with as well because of the "She Is My Scar" speech.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to talk about rip out my heart and stomp on it?
That is the first time this entire podcast, I've heard your Brooklyn accent come out. Go ahead, Danny.
Hiding it, I have to say.
No, I had it. I have about 3 episodes that I keep constantly watching. and both y'all hit both of them on the head. It's the one with the Wizard of Oz one
Hmm.
with Patty LaPone. I also have the second one would be when they were doing if my son when they were doing the singing and the curse. I love that one. How that was very put together. And honestly, the last episode, just
The
because I'm
Maiden
a
Mother
sucker.
Crone one?
Huh?
The Maiden Mother Crone one or the one right before
Maybe
that?
Mother Home because I'm a sucker for cliffhangers,
Mm.
and based off of what I've seen, or the rumor mill that they might be doing another season two, a season two of Agatha All Along, because there's too many open cliffhangers on the show, especially in the last episode, and there's too many open questions we need answers to.
When
Like
they
everybody wants to get deeper into the relationship between Agatha and Rio.
they submitted the nominations for the award season, and they
Did they
was
get nominated?
series, but Agatha was submitted as a comedy series.
As a what?
As a comedy series, not as like a limited series. So that means that they are going to have another season, whether they call it Agatha or Wiccan. You're right. The rumor mills are right.
Well,
So
it's a 3-part series that's coming. It's what is it, Wonder, Agatha,
And
and
then
Vision.
the Vision series.
But I do need to say, and I know y'all probably agree with me, but Vision Quest has to bring it home. You got to bring it home. For the first two episodes from WandaVision that quietly gelled into Agatha All Along, and this one has to blend right into Vision Quest. You got to bring it home. And then we got Wonder Man coming out, which is a villain to Vision. So there's going to be a lot going on, but I really need Vision to bring it home to complete this whole 3-part series.
so let me ask y'all this. And this is a outsider looking in question. Do you think because like T said, Agatha was not a highly rated character in the Marvel universe. You said she was like 58 or something, and she doesn't even have her own comic to herself, her own standalone comic. Do you think this series had put her, or this character, I should say, or this particular part of the universe into a better light, and people that may not have been familiar with it can now become more familiar with it? Do you think this is going to change the landscape for this character?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this character is now, as she was used in the comic book as a guide for Wanda, now she's being used as a guide for Wiccan. And I feel like they're utilizing lesser known characters because now don't forget Tony Stark, dead. Captain America, dead. Black Widow, dead. So now we're killing off our major, per se, Avengers. And from what I've seen, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, the Marvel B team ain't living it up right now. It's not. Loki lived up to what Loki was supposed to. The first season was set up, it was horrible, but the second season, glorious. So I feel like the movies they're putting out are not in line to what the viewers want. And they took Agatha and they made her what the viewers want. And they should start listening to that. Especially if they're going to make a Scarlet Witch movie, they should let Jack Schaefer story.
Okay, I like that. And do anybody want to follow up with that, or
Danny.
I I kind of agree with her because I'm probably gonna lie here for this one. The B team did not live up to what its expectations just because of the situation that it had to go through with. But and however, they had opportunities to change everything, but you couldn't base it off of real life situations. Like the what is it? Falcon and Winter Soldier was based off of COVID-19. They had to get reshoots, and now it came back and was busted. We had Echo had to get reshot because it was too much involved in the Native Americans. That got busted. Had to reshoot that.
sorry,
Too
sir,
many hands in the cookie
you
jar.
can't use the word Native American.
Huh?
It's indigenous people. Native America is no longer politically correct to say. Although the actual people don't care, but society now says it's no longer politically correct to say Native American, even though that's
All right.
who they are.
Yeah. It is too many hands in the cookie jar that made the TV shows and the movies unrelatable. We
Shout
all
out to
seen
Catherine.
Secret
I'm sorry. Go
Invasion.
ahead. Go ahead. I was shout out to Catherine Sanchez. She says Brooklyn in the house. Maybe not in that voice, but
Yeah, in that one.
Nah. Like I said, we all seen Secret Invasion, how that turned out. Too many hands in the cookie jar. They're directing all these movies and these shows. They don't look relatable. They don't feel relatable like their first Avengers was. But now they're going back to square one and going back to who made them who they are, like the Russos and Jack Schaefer. And I think Favreau is going joining on another directorial debut. So you're going back to your bread and butter. As far as what T said, Jack is to Marvel who Christopher Nolan was to the Batman series.
So Naeem says Secret Invasion was trash.
Horrible.
Now the thing about them shows was they weren't trash per se. It wasn't put together the way we thought it should have been put together. Like I said, too many hands in the cookie jar. If you got one movie, but all four of us are directing it, everybody's not going to be on the same page. You need that one director. And let's be honest, you can get something like Love and Thunder.
With that
And I
being
know
said,
Kev, that's the movie right there.
Let's not talk about Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
Let's not.
With that being said, you're so very welcome, Catherine. Thank you once again for joining us. And y'all already know my opinion on Love and Thunder or Love and Blunder.
I his opinion on Love and Blunder. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that was
goodness. I got you, Doctor Strange.
The last one.
okay. Naeem said, "I love all the side shows except that."
So here again with my unpopular opinion, and whoever said the thing about the screaming goats, that was like one of my favorite parts of like Love and Thunder. I thought it was freaking amazing. But again, so here is my thought process about Marvel and how stuff happens. And I think I've said it on this show before.
What?
You can tell a good story. You got me. If you can tell a good story in the first 20 minutes of anything, you got me. And I'm in it for the long haul. I think what they've gotten away from is telling a good story. And I think they're scrambling for the most part to keep the machine going. I think they've had a lot of success, and just like how we kind of talk about how DC doesn't have the same ability to tell the good stories, they're just like churning out the movies because they're trying to compete. I think Marvel ended up competing with itself and was just trying to rush the process. And then because you're rushing the process, because it doesn't come out the way you want it to, then you got to pivot, and you're also then in turn rushing the process on the pivot. So I think that a lot of the things that they've been doing lately have been fillers. It's the same thing how I felt about Eternals. Eternals to me was a horrible movie, but it was the chapter 2 of the book. It was we needed to have this movie to get to wherever it is we had to go. And they just had to tell it right then and there. Again, to me, the movie was horrible, but a lot of people were about it. But you get into the end credit scenes and we're introducing something that we thought was getting ready to happen next. And then it doesn't happen for several phases. And it's like, well, why did y'all do that? So again, it is the rushing of the storytelling, which is why a lot of this stuff isn't coming out and hitting as well as it's going to. And then you have Jack Schaefer, who came in and wrote a brilliant story for a character that you caught people in the first 20 or 30 minutes of the show, that then in turn kept people going. And I think that's what's going to have to happen in Vision Quest in order to get us to wherever it is we have to go in this next phase. Yes, Vision Quest is going to have to hit hard, but again, if it doesn't hit hard at first, you're going to lose people anyway. So do I believe that it's going to hit from the first episode? Yeah, I definitely do, as long as she's a part of the writing team. If she doesn't end up being a part of the writing team, then it's going to fall the same way everything else is.
So,
Absolutely.
Catherine Sanchez agrees with you. She says, so true, facts. And Naeem agrees with you when he says, excellent point.
I feel like they made a big boo boo when they made Multiverse of Madness. Everybody was on the high of WandaVision per se. Like WandaVision was such a huge hit, and we said, "Oh yes, Wanda's in this. The Scarlet Witch is in it. We finally get to see her." And within 5 minutes, with no backstory, yes, we saw her with the book, and she hears her children, and she goes off. You mean to tell me that you're going to tell me in 15 minutes of a movie that a character who just had redemption and felt grief and the consequences of her actions caught up with, that she's going to go kill a teenager when she's trying to find her children? I don't buy that. That is not authentically Scarlet Witch, and that is not authentically Wanda, and that's not authentically Elizabeth Olsen. So that's why I absolutely hated that movie. And I think had Jack Schaefer, like you said, been in charge of keeping that Wanda story, we might have gotten a different response. We might have gotten a different, intake. And it wouldn't hurt to watch it a second time because it hurt.
That's
Jen
another thing when I
says,
mentioned about the
Jen,
cookie jars when they said the director who was supposed to do that Doctor Strange at first jumped off. He stopped doing it because he had an issue with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige wanted it done a certain way because the version that the first director wrote, it was she was the grief, but she wasn't killing kids. She was trying to kill this guy. What's that? Moldor, the black dude, the other Doctor Strange guy.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
he pulled that, killed
Mordo.
him, and carried his head over to Doctor Strange.
that would have made more sense than her trying to kill
Yeah,
that.
it put it my more bloody and gruesome. But Kevin was like, because they with that deal with Disney, we got to keep it somewhat PG and edit out a lot of stuff. When you cut your main parts out of the movie and leave it clueless, Suicide Squad with the Joker,
Ugh.
a lot of things is going to go wrong.
And
So
so,
even as far as the writing with Doctor Strange, how can you be Doctor Strange and not know what the Darkhold is? How does Wong have to explain it to you? You're a sorcerer, whether or not you're supreme. You're a wizard, which is which is a male witch. You should know what the Darkhold is. And him not knowing what the Darkhold was, I thought was a huge dropping of the ball by Marvel. Like it
just
just
real quick, and just want to interject real quick. Joanne agrees with you, Chris, saying 100% agree about Marvel pushing things out too fast.
the thing about them is scheduling. When your principal, the owner of your company, is telling you, I need such and such manufactured in a certain amount of time, in order for you to hit that deadline, you're going to do what we saying before. You're going to get all the four of us in here to make four different movies that's supposed to connect together, and we know they're not going to connect together.
But at some point in time, somebody gotta go.
This is why they doing the soft reboot with the Fantastic Four. Because if you
Right, but somebody gotta go. This isn't working because now we've lost the consistency that we once had. Like T said, and even Chris said in the beginning, all of the Marvel movies made sense. They connected, even up to Endgame. They all connected. Everything
yeah,
after Endgame just doesn't make sense anymore, and so somebody has to go.
Kevin, the CEO took responsibility because they focused too much
He ain't had
on.
no choice. The
He
buck
did.
stops with him.
This is why
He had
they
to take
broken
responsibility.
everything down now. Like if you want to do, they try to put everything in one situation in one pot, but now they divided it off. Like we are sitting in now in four different sections. They got Marvel Animation, the Marvel Studios deal with the movies, Marvel Spotlight, and then you got the other Marvel. Everybody has their own situation. This set of directors is over here. You work on your stuff. Now you breaking it down to the point where everybody can have their own responsibility, and everything makes sense now. So when the Fantastic Four come out, Don't be surprised if Agatha is in there because she's in it in the comic books since they had the baby.
Now,
Like I honestly think, huh?
Diane did just ask what is up with the Fantastic Four reboot.
That's what Kevin Feige is basing on. Like you said, now he has the whole copyrights of the Fox universe. So now with this soft reboot with the Fantastic Four, you can get to tell them the actual comic book stories on TV. Because Agatha is in.
But here's the question though, because you're talking about the Fox reboot, and keep in mind, I'm on the outside looking in. I'm still learning this from saying somebody didn't know. So you're saying Fox has part of the Marvel universe, Sony has part of the Marvel universe, and Fox is under Disney.
All right, so let me break this one down. Sony has the Spider-Man portion.
Right.
You know, Spider-Man comes with every villain with Spider-Man, and they doing some petty ish right now too.
They're
and with
facts.
Fox had the whole basically X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
So when Kevin Feige started doing the Iron Man in the beginning, he can't mention them characters by their initial name. That's why in Age of Ultron they wasn't called mutants; they were called enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
Anything involving you can't use it. So instead of me saying tomato, it's tomato. He had to go around it, and if they mentioned it, it was a copyright infringement. They got sued because them words was under the Spider-Man. The Fox brand. Now with Sony, they have a contract. They got to put out a new Spider-Man movie within 3 to 5 years, and if they don't, they lose all rights to Spider-Man, and it goes back to Marvel.
Which is why
Sony
they
is
get
not
ready
trying
to,
to do that.
which is why they're about to start filming the new Spider-Man movie next year.
Correct. But however, if they stop within that Sony universe, they're going to put out every single Spider-Man situation that they can to because the Spider-Man contract is almost up. That's why we came with the Venom movie that I haven't even seen yet, but people told me it was trash.
You don't want to do it. I promise you, you
Right.
don't want to do it.
We got Craven the Hunter. They're using all the villains from the Spider-Man universe.
I'm not an advocate for streaming, but
They
I'm
using
just saying.
all the villains. Look at Morbius, Craven the Hunter, every Venom movie. All of them technically don't make sense. The only one they had close to making sense was Madam Web. But then they blew it with the end of the movie, and that just washed away the whole daggone movie. But now that they use them characters, when they come over to Marvel, Marvel can't use them for the next 5 years because the names have already been used. So we still going back to square one, and now Kevin will have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
So Fantastic Four, you start over with Agatha, bring her in as the old lady who babysits the Sue Storm's son, who eventually grows up to become the Conqueror.
All right, so that leads me into my next question, which
Talk to me.
is dealing with Agatha All Along. What are, or if any, potential spinoffs from Agatha All Along? The T's woman, she looking at the chop. She was like, I've been waiting on this question.
I bet she heard what I heard.
I was going to make a video on this, and I decided not to. I decided I was going to do it here.
Thank you. Oh, we had an exclusive.
This is exclusive. If they were smart, they would take Agatha and make her and Billy go find Tommy. However, don't bring in another villain like the Salem 7. That's not going to work. Just have Rio chase them and have her keep trying, because her thing was, I let him slip away with it. He wants to put his brother in a body. That's an abomination. And she told him when he left, you can go. She never said you're free. Remember that conversation her and Agatha had? She says, I want you to let me go. I want to be free. And she didn't say he was free. She said he could go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you bring that into it, now you have Lady Death still in the universe, which is good because I like Lady Death, and she did have a lot of different plot points in a lot of different IPs. Then after you find Tommy, then we go on Vision Quest.
So real quick, Naeem did chop in and those who don't know who Naeem is, who wondering, Naeem is not aka Dick Clark. His brothers in arms with us. I know I've been calling him Naeem the entire night. So that's who Naeem is. Is not Dick aka Dick Clark. And he said he needs a show with Jennifer.
Yeah.
Why are you biting your knuckle, T?
Because they did her so dirty. And
Agreed.
I would have rather they killed her off than what they did to her. She was a complete self-serving, self-absorbed narcissist the entire show. She
Damn.
And
But
I
it's the
felt
truth.
like, but you know
She's
what
not
though?
she's not lying though.
She's
She's
But
not
you
not
know what
lying.
lying
though?
though.
She's
But you
not
know what?
lying.
I felt like the New Yorker in her. I felt like the New Yorker in her had some curse words that she wanted to. Oh, she taking the jacket off our Spotify listeners.
But no,
She's
bro, if
stretching
you
and
watch the
everything.
show, you'd have been like, yo, I hate her.
this is how heated I am about this. She was so narcissistic throughout the whole show. She wouldn't help. She wouldn't get out of the circle when Teen went through the window. She didn't help. She barely helped anybody. She don't even get me started on how she acted in that episode during Agatha's trial, where she was just nasty. Girl was
Mm.
nasty. Then we get to Lilia's trial, and she's her sister in the coven, and she like has this bonding moment, and you think she's changed. You think they redeemed her, and then we go into the morgue, and she finds out that Agatha's the one who bound her powers. And I understand her being mad at Agatha. However, it was the 1920s. Let's do a history lesson right now. It was the Great Depression, and people did what they could for money to survive.
Mm-hmm.
These spells to survive during the Great Depression. She did not know it was going to be used on Jen.
But
Jen gets
I
her
think
power, and she goes,
for her point of view,
"You're on mute, Danny."
I did that because y'all was over talking and you were still talking. But go ahead,
my
Danny.
bad, my fault. I said technically Agatha saved her because she was like, it's either bind you or burn at the stake. Which one would you rather do?
Mm-hmm.
And not even knowing who it was, she decided to bind her. Now, the anger that she had for throughout the show, you really didn't know why she hated her so much. Like if you just met her, you heard about her, but you never seen her before. And by the episode, it kind of makes sense. Like she never knew why she hated her, but you heard all the rumors about her sacrificing her son, which you kind of find out that was actually BS.
But
But
Mm.
it was just weird, and they did. I think she does need to. If they do a season 3 or season 2, I need an episode of that whole thing.
I want her to come back when it's Agatha, Billy, and Tommy fighting death. I want her to come back and help there, because when she got her powers back, she dipped. She dipped, and during the whole scene, and before that, she had this scene where she said, "I couldn't save Lilia, and I didn't even try to save Alice, so I'm gonna save you." And then when she got out of there, she dipped, and she weed, and out she went. So to see her brought back into the fight with death would have been lovely. To have her have that redemption arc where she was part of the coven and she didn't just end up being all about herself. That's why I can't stand what they did to Jen.
And I feel like they should bring her back because, again, you get other characters and you get other things. So if they bring her back for something, you get Johnny Blaze and then you get the Furies. So bringing her back would help to then in turn enhance, the universe. So
Yeah, really right. It just goes to show that even though she didn't have her powers, even when she got them, she was still gonna be the same person as soon as she got them back. I'm all for self.
Mm.
So technically, you think she was the opposite of Agatha?
No, she was the same as Agatha. That's why she
yeah,
got her.
So do you think that this is probably the only potential spinoff, or do you think there could have been other spinoffs, or just that Jennifer would be the most interesting one, other than the one that you stated before, T?
Nah, I mean, for what I wrote, if they did do a season 2, one episode I would like to see the day that Jen got bound. I want to see that play out. I want to see more about Rio and Agatha, what T was talking, and the day that Alice's mom died. I would like to see an episode of that.
Ooh.
And the day the plague hit Italy, when
Jesus.
her whole coven died. That's pretty much. And what if we find out that Agatha was the reason for all of that and never knew?
Well, it would also be nice to get Jen's backstory too, as far
Hmm.
like we know that she was a potions witch, but she also talked about her being a midwife and a root worker. So you get some cultural references and some things in that as well. And I believe, and this is just my creative brain working, that as they're going to look for Tommy, that eventually they're gonna need a potion. They're gonna need something, and they're gonna go back to Jen, because now that she has her power, she got a little bit more, amp to her potion, and she's proven on the witch's road that she really didn't need it, because the thought and the knowledge is all still there. But with the
Hmm.
powers, you get a little bit more along with it. So they're eventually, I can see them in the second season going back and actually needing her.
So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put this comment right here. I want to say it, but y'all know who this is. I see Jen coming back in Aggie too.
Is that Naeem?
Of course it is.
He's the only person that referenced her as Aggie. So I have a question. Was she ever referred in the show as Aggie?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
Okay.
However, I do have a friend and her name is Agatha, and we do call her Aggie. So yes, I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay.
No,
All right.
you do for real?
Yes, I do. Question: would anybody care to explain to me how she got the Darkhold, when she got the Darkhold, who she got the Darkhold?
God damn.
I think, like I said,
She
I think
asked a
that should
lot.
be explained between Rio and Agatha. How she got it.
No, because Rio said in episode 1, she said, "I haven't seen you since you got the Darkhold." So just knowing who she got it from, and why was it in a cradle if she never traded Nicholas for it? Like there were so many plot holes in that sense. Like I don't get why the Darkhold was brought up if it had nothing to do with the show.
I
Why
think it did.
put the buddy in there if it had nothing to do with the show? It's like things like that.
I think
So
that's the
now,
double standard. Because remember
so
she was talking that they were doing it from scratch. The
and so
scratch could have been potions.
evidently, Mr. Dick Clark says, "So I got a slight crush on Aggie. Don't judge me for that.
I think I'd judge you if you didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call her Aggie." That's another comment he put up here.
Now, if you, not gonna do it. Nope.
So I'm assuming that Aggie has put a spell. See what I did there? Has
See
put a
that.
spell
See
on
that.
Naeem.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Catherine Hahn.
Shout
So
out Aubrey Plaza for making Lady Death look so good that I know all men in the world would run to Death away from her.
I'm still ain't going to it though, even though she might be the great
I
witch.
might have to pull her up. Y'all might have to send me a picture of Lady Death so I can see this for myself. But
I
with
put them on
that
the
being
pages.
Yeah.
said, you put them on pages. Hold up, is
TikTok.
Lady Death the black one?
Lady, no, that's Jen.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know what it is. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the final thought portion of the show. And so we're going to start with our new friend, our new guest, T. What are your final thoughts for Agatha All Along season breakdown and any fallouts that may come?
I absolutely loved it.
Before you answer that question, you guys from TikTok. Yes, we are on TikTok. Catherine Sanchez, we are on TikTok. We are Two Fat Guys Podcast, all in one word. Two, the number two, and on my Baltimore accent, it's crazy. It's TWO Fat Guys Podcast 99, and we also follow T. So if you go to T page, we follow her, and she follows us, and you can click find us that way.
Mm-hmm.
So your final thoughts, T. Sorry.
I thought it was absolutely one of the best written shows I've ever watched. I thought the way Jack Schaefer put it together was beautiful. Did I want more about the Darkhold? Absolutely. Did I want more of a backstory on Agatha and Rio? Absolutely. Can we get that in season 2? Absolutely. So I'm gonna.
But the question is, are you going to get it in season 2?
Don't get me started on how I've had that bunny, Nicholas Scratch, on my radar since WandaVision, since episode 2. I did a whole video on this bunny. If Nikki Scratch's soul is not in that bunny, I'm gonna cry. But they do that to me. They give you Greg's laughing because I did a whole video on the bunny, right?
Diana says, put T on a wrestling podcast. We may just have to do that. Because we got a limit. We have War Game Survivor Series coming up. So we may have to, yeah. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Diana. Thank you.
That's my sister-in-law, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
See what?
That's my sister-in-law.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the family, sister-in-law. We are long distance cousins now.
Yes.
Why?
But it was
Why, Danny?
Watch it over.
Star Trek over Star Wars.
All day. All day.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, y'all are gonna get hurt.
Uh-oh.
Your Star Wars?
I am somewhere in the middle. But
so here's the thing, and me and Chris literally just had this conversation. I know my wife is about to be like, y'all getting off topic again. So Chris and I just had this whole conversation about, and I'm not going to get to the whole thing because I was like, Harry Potter ripped off Star Wars, but we're not going to get into the whole conversation.
Yeah, don't do it.
We're not going to get the whole conversation about it.
I'm gonna not be your friend anymore. So
you say that every time. Who said what? I said it. I said that Harry Potter was a ripoff of Star Wars, but we'll get to that later. All right, we're moving on. But the end of it, I'm a Trekkie all day, live long and prosper. But I respect the Star Wars franchise. Like I don't.
You ain't trying to get your ass whipped. That's what it is.
No, it ain't that. Because I watch Star Wars. I watched every Star Wars movie released. I never understood why people hated Jar Jar Binks. I was like, you people are psycho. It's a character. Like, get over it.
He was funny.
He looked like my uncle.
He's the comic relief.
Naeem said blasphemy and Captain Jerk over Luke. Nah. So, but I respect the franchise. Like my son Damon, he loves Star Wars. He's more Star Wars than Star Trek. I think for me, I was just able to put my hands on Star Trek more than Star Wars growing up. Because I see that was more visual to me versus Star Wars. But I respect the franchise. It's just I don't go back crap crazy when people like, they're coming out with episode 90. I'm like, good for you. Hope you enjoy it. It'll be on TNT eventually. And they'll show it every other Saturday continuously for 4 months straight. So, first 3 Star Wars, Joe here. I think that's your brother?
That would be my brother.
Okay. Because he's under Diana. That's why I was kind of confused. All right. So
praise me as Star Wars, and to be honest, the first trilogy was the best trilogy, and that's my trilogy. And it may have to do with me being born in the 80s, but
got you. All right. So Chris, what are your final thoughts?
So overall, I think the series was great. It very much gave me Loki season 2 vibes with regards to the way that the story was done. And I was literally on the edge of my seat every Wednesday trying to wait until 9:00 for the next episode to come out. So I think it did what it was supposed to do, but that's a credit to nobody but Jack Schaefer with regards to the superb writing. And then of course, Patti LuPone with just her rendition of Lilia's character. And I mean, throughout the whole show, like that character was such a pivotal piece throughout the whole series that I couldn't have imagined anybody else even stepping into the shoes of that character. And with the fact that now she's spun back around uh, to her younger self, there is the thought process of her potentially showing back up in a season 2 space. So yeah, I can't imagine what that would be like, and I anticipate how they're going to reintroduce her into that, since she's now gotten a hold of her time slipping, as it were. So I think at the end of the day, Marvel has to go back to the same thing that Disney had to do as well, and it's going back to finding the story. And in finding the story, you then create the magic that then makes either the show, the movie, the series, whatever it is. That is the crux of what makes it good. And there are really good story writers out there, and they just have to find those individuals that are willing to write the good stories.
All right, awesome. Before I get to you, Danny, nah, Dick Clark
Naeem, be quiet.
says Star Wars treated the brothers better. Star Trek had us blind and or a Klingon. I'm not.
We'll have to
That
talk
is
about
not true.
cultural appropriation and
That is,
galaxy trekking another time.
that is not true, Naeem. You know it. Okay, Danny, what are your final thoughts? Not on Star Trek or Star Wars, on Agatha All Along season breakdown and Fallout.
No, what I was saying, I was gonna say was we can go back to Miss T because she ain't finished. And Miss Chris over here, I was wiping my eyes because she was giving a hell of a speech on Marvel, and I was getting emotional when she was saying it. And I looked over at T, and she was pointing to, oh yeah, she doing a thing, and I'm like, she is.
Mhm.
And for a gangster like me, I'm not supposed to be crying on
You are
TV.
not a gangster, yo.
Sir,
Shut
mind your
up.
business, sir.
Shut up. And shout out to John Anderson. What up, my boy? What up, my dude? Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you taking time out your Saturday. Come rock with us for a little bit.
So I mean, I would like to get back to finish what T was saying after I give me some tissue, because I think Miss Chris should be running for president because she got my vote, and I'm about to cry again. So go ahead, Miss T, finish what you were saying. Give me a minute. Take me off camera, Kev. What do you think?
Shut up, yo.
But I agree with you, Chris. It's all about the story and it's about the characters. Jack Schaefer writes characters we care about. We're invested in. Agatha wasn't supposed to get her own spin-off, but she was written so well that we loved her, even though she was the villain of the show. That doesn't happen. So I agree with you. Get back to the storytelling, get back to fleshing out these characters and giving them a heart and a soul and a story, and follow.
Yep.
That's the same thing Triple H is doing right now in WWE.
Amen. Except if Liv don't start defending that title soon.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. That's a
Not,
sideshow.
not,
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all beautiful ages, we have come to the end of the show. We have had a great time, fun as always, shenanigans. We are um we are back next week. And we are back at the same time, at the same channel. And we are next week going to be talking about what? The Penguin. Yes, we are going to be talking about the Penguin next week at 8 o'clock. We're going to talk about the Penguin season finale series. I think this might be a series ender because this is a limited series, so this might be the end of it. So, but we're going to talk about the fallout and potential spinoffs from this and what's going to go down. Nice to meet you too, Catherine. Don't go nowhere yet because I got some information to drop for y'all. And Trips, time to. Oh, she says, and Diane says, Trips, time to play the game. That is a wrestling reference, Chris.
Thank you. I was like, what?
Triple H. Triple H short name is Trips.
Okay.
And play the game as one of his monikers, one of his handles.
Understood.
That's why I gave it to you real quick. But the Penguin, we're gonna be talking about the Penguin and how this show is just phenomenal. And once again, we're gonna talk about how DC makes crappy movies but wonderful TV shows. Which is so unfortunate. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris is on hiatus right now with Coffee and Tea. She will. You're not.
What season finale?
Oh, that's right. We're doing Coffee and Tea After Dark. Yes, Coffee and Tea After Dark. So
that sounds groovy.
This is going to be a little risque and a little adultish episode that we're going to be doing, and I will be part of that show once again because I can't wait. I know there are certain topics I'm just going to sit back and be quiet about, and certain topics I'm going to be loud and boisterous about because that's what I do. Also, her Lazarus movement is she just did a new episode today of the Lazarus movement, which is on YouTube and Facebook. So please go and get your Bible study on because she is an excellent teacher, and she breaks it down so that the most novice person can understand it, and it's not like over your head Bible study. So she's very well at that. She is very gifted at that, and that is one of her gifts that God has given her. You can find Miss T on TikTok at Brooklyn Girl. I don't know why I keep saying Brooklyn so hard. Like whenever I say Brooklyn,
like
I say
you're with the Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah. Yeah, Biggie. Shout out to Christopher Wallace, R.I.P. You can find her on TikTok. Find her on TikTok at BKLYN Girl 1380. That is BKLYN Girl 1380 on TikTok. Are you also on Instagram?
Yeah.
Under the same name?
T. DeVilio, just like my Facebook profile.
Okay, so she is under her real name. Spell your last name for people.
Oh, goodness gracious. DEVILIO.
And put the name TEETEE in front of it. And you will find her on Facebook and Instagram under that. But definitely check out her TikTok. Her TikTok is so fun. I enjoy watching it. When I get the alerts, as soon as I get a chance to look at them, I check them out. Because right now I'm following you I'm still under Two Fat Guys, but I need to follow you under my personal. But that is so much fun. And I'm not a Taylor Swift fan by any stretch of the imagination.
Neither was I.
Her Taylor Swift breakdowns of her re-release songs that she wound up having to re-release because she couldn't get the masters back because her old business partner or manager was a brr about it. I am in the music, so I know all about that. But she breaks down the remakes, the redoes of the Taylor Swift. What are you doing, Daniel?
Huh?
Nothing. So
I'm singing Taylor Swift.
I do.
Stop doing that.
Too.
Go check out T on her TikTok page. And of course, you need to follow us, the Two Fat Guys crew. You need to follow us at Two Fat Guys Podcast for Facebook. On Instagram, Two Fat Guys Podcast 99. Not the number, but the word two, TWO, Fat Guys Podcast 99 on TikTok and YouTube. And on Spotify, we are Two Fat Guys Podcast. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I am a week behind, so I will be dropping 2 new episodes this week. So please forgive me, my folks. Had a little editing issue. So check us out on all those platforms. We are putting stuff up every day on TikTok. We have gotten extremely busy on TikTok thanks to Danny. We've gotten extremely busy on Instagram thanks to Danny and myself. And Facebook is popping off too. So we do appreciate the support and the love. So definitely, and any ideas for shows that you would like for us to do or take into consideration for a topic, we can be emailed at 2fatguyspodcast99@gmail.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Catherine says, I have already had tea on TikTok, and we live next door from each other. She's awesome.
I told you I bring people.
You do. You bring people. Now, Catherine,
She
follow
brought a
us on
cousin.
TikTok.
She got her own cousin.
That's
You
right.
know what? Ooh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah,
So follow us, Catherine, on TikTok. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Danny and I want to thank you for taking your time out to come hang out with us. Thank you, Chris, once again, for blessing us with your presence. Thank you, T, for blessing us with your presence. And we will have you on again, definitely for the PLE coming up. We will definitely have you back after War Games. And either Danny and I will be reaching out to you for that, because we want more female perspective when it comes to wrestling on this platform, and we need it. Anything, Danny, before we sign off, sir?
When is War Games?
It's in November, like it always is.
Is it the week before or after Thanksgiving? I'm not sure.
Y'all asking a lot of questions right
now. No, I mean, they're all wrestling fans.
Yeah.
I don't know the schedule. Hold on.
For the meanwhile, follow me on TikTok or Instagram at Psycho Music. That's my music production company, and Psycho Designs is my design and my graphic design company. Follow me, like, subscribe, share. Just tell somebody to love me, and I'm good.
It is War Games 2024, which is coming from Vancouver. What is that? British Columbia? Yeah, Vancouver, British Columbia. Jesus. Saturday, I know, right? Saturday, November 30th at 6:30 Eastern. So.
You mean I gotta talk after I ate turkey?
Yeah.
It's the 30th, bro.
Yeah. Black food, turkey soup, turkey sandwiches, turkey salad.
You have leftovers after yours?
I mean, I can't eat it all.
We try to.
I'm not doing this today.
Yeah, Mama Journal won't let me eat like that no more. So it won't let me do it no more.
Be nice, Chris.
And you know what? I'm hanging out with my buddy Chris. Well, my wife and I and several other people are hanging out with Chris tomorrow for chicken giving. Yes.
Wings giving, sir?
Yeah,
wings
same thing.
Giving.
It's still chicken. Wings giving.
What you mean? It could have been turkey wings.
But chicken giving doesn't sound good. It sounds like something Naeem would say and turn it terrible.
Dan, Viva said go to the corner.
What?
Look, this is a low for you. You only been in timeout twice this show. So.
No, correction. I've been in timeout once. The other one before the show.
No, it was one other time. No, it was one other time she put you in timeout. So technically, you've been in timeout twice on the show. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as Danny has this temper tantrum in the corner, we want to thank you once again for coming out and joining us. We appreciate you. And please believe that you are important, not just to us, but to yourself. God bless. Good night. And remember what? Tell a friend to tell a friend that is Two Fat Guys Podcast again. Ladies, please hang on.
Yeah, I'm a Cheshire cat.
Mm-hmm.